There was once a force so powerful it built entire cities, created the middle class, and made the United States a superpower. And almost nobody today knows how it existed, how it vanished, or why its disappearance could unravel everything around us. They don't teach this in school. They don't cover it on the news. And powerful corporations absolutely do not want you to understand it. Because if Americans knew how our manufacturing power was stolen, they would demand answers the people in charge can't give. This is the hidden story of rise, betrayal, exile, and the fight to return. The world before the collapse. From 1945 to 1975, America wasn't just a nation. It was a workshop that never slept. Factories roared day and night. Freight trains rumbled through industrial valleys. Sparks from welding torches lit up the night sky. Cities thrived. Main streets were crowded. Paychecks were steady. Bank loans were easy. Unions had power. Wages rose with productivity. Health insurance and pensions were common, not luxury benefits. Jobs were stable. Promotions were earned. A high school diploma meant a career, a house, and dignity. Life was predictable, not because it was easy, but because it was secure. In Detroit, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Buffalo, Toledo, Akron, Gary, and dozens of other industrial giants, steel mills ran non-stop. Assembly lines shaped modern consumer culture. Tool and die shops backed every major plant. Workers bought homes without a lifetime of debt. Kids went to college because one income was enough. Neighborhoods stayed rooted for generations. The United States built cars, bridges, skyscrapers, ships, tools, appliances, trains, factory machinery, and industrial materials, all at a pace unmatched anywhere on Earth. Manufacturing wasn't just an economic sector. It was the backbone of American identity, the engine of middle-class growth, and the foundation of national power. Signs of a challenge. By the late 1970s, the landscape began to change. Competition quietly emerged from overseas. Factories in other countries were not louder, but smarter. Other nations started producing cheaper steel, higher quality cars, sleeker electronics, more modern industrial machinery. Japan and Germany poured resources into automation systems that reduced labor costs. Precision manufacturing capable of microscopic tolerances. New facilities built with advanced materials and efficient layouts. They replaced smokestacks with robotics. They replaced brute force with engineering discipline. They redesigned factories for speed, consistency, and quality. Meanwhile, inside America, boardrooms made different choices. Many companies clung to outdated machinery, mid-century production methods. Accounting strategies focused on the next quarter. Equipment that should have been replaced a generation earlier. Instead of reinvesting profits back into plants, executives treated aging infrastructure as good enough. The warning signs were everywhere. Reports, trade data, customer feedback, international market shifts. They were seen, they were debated, and then they were ignored. The point of no return. Two major policy decisions changed the direction of American industry, not gradually, but permanently. 1. NAFTA, 1994. For the first time, companies could move factories just across the border, pay a fraction of U.S. wages, and still sell products back into American stores without tariffs or penalties. Overnight, relocating wasn't just possible, it was profitable. 2. China joins the WTO, 2001. This was the moment the global labor market opened wide. China offered something no domestic workforce could compete with: low wages, state-supported factories, endless labor supply, rapid industrial expansion. It created a global industrial bargain: produce for less, sell for more. Executives suddenly saw a clear path: slash labor costs with one signature, skip decades of environmental regulations, scale production beyond anything available at home, cut overhead while boosting profit margins. And they took it. There were no slow committee decisions, no measured transition plans, no phased outsourcing strategy. Factories didn't close one by one, they closed in waves. Plants that had operated for 50, 70, even 100 years were shut down in a single announcement, sometimes with just a few days' notice. In total, more than 70,000 U.S. factories shut down between 2001 and 2020. Whole manufacturing ecosystems vanished: toolmakers, machine shops, shipping companies, industrial suppliers. The damage didn't unfold over generations. It didn't take half a century. It happened in months, in some cases in weeks. Communities that had been stable for decades woke up to find their economic lifeline gone, not because they failed, but because someone in a distant boardroom found a cheaper deal. The point of no return had been crossed. America would never make things the same way again.
A new crisis emerges.
Even now, the consequences continue. There are three major forces shaping the next chapter. 1. Automation. Modern factories can run with far fewer workers. That means jobs don't return, even if production does. 2. Global supply fragility. Recent global disruptions proved a painful truth. America no longer makes many critical items at home: semiconductors, steel components, medical supplies, industrial tools. 3. Cost pressures. Bringing production back raises prices: higher wages, higher materials, higher compliance costs. Consumers want affordable goods. Domestic production is expensive. This is the fundamental conflict. A realization. Here is the uncomfortable truth: when a nation stops producing, it loses control over its future. Finance cannot replace industrial capacity. Imports cannot replace local skills. Cheap foreign goods come with long-term costs. The Rust Belt didn't simply decline, it was abandoned by policy decisions made in boardrooms and government offices. And once industrial ecosystems die, rebuilding them is incredibly difficult. Possible futures. Now there are three directions forward. Option 1. Strategic rebuilding. New industrial hubs form around robotics, advanced manufacturing, materials science. Cities like Columbus, Pittsburgh, Raleigh, Austin, and Greenville are emerging as modern industrial centers. Option 2. National protection. Policies may return to tariffs, incentives, buy domestic rules. Manufacturing becomes a national security issue, not just an economic one. Option 3. Permanent abandonment. Some Rust Belt regions may never recover: Flint, Gary East, St. Louis, Aliquippa. They remain as forgotten industrial landscapes with no path back. The new reality. This story ends with a question that remains unresolved. Will America learn to make things again, or will the last remaining factories fade into silence? The old industrial world will never return exactly as it was, but the need for production still exists. A nation that can build, repair, and manufacture is a nation with independence. A nation that relies entirely on imports is vulnerable to forces outside its control. The Rust Belt is not just history, it is an ongoing decision. If this gave you value, like, subscribe, and share with anyone interested in understanding America's industrial future.